Think about the dynamic here. And again, this is why you have to protect you and your business first and foremost, because nobody else will. Fact, bottom line, end of story, close the barn doors. They're filing for bankruptcy. He has 30,000 plus in arrears, whatever. They're not paying him. You're going to have to wait for some mythological date in the future to ever collect a portion of it. But let's sign an agreement moving from this day forward. No. We don't sign or touch an agreement till all of that money is paid. Watch. Well. Look who's back after all these months. Yes, it's true. The 21-year-old Olympic athlete, international sex symbol is back. It's been a long summer. Great summer. Lots of trips. Met a lot of you. A lot of mandatory fun days for my kiddies. But it's been great summer. Again, one of the benefits is being able to meet so many of you guys in our travels. We travel almost everywhere, and I got to meet a lot of you guys. So that's always awesome, connecting with a lot of our one-on-one clients. So, and again, thank you all for your emails. Some of you guys emailed us over these last several months. Where's Joel? Is he going to shoot any more videos? Is he okay? And hey, I appreciate the concern. Everything's been wonderful. Like I tell everybody, I'm a biblical capitalist. God comes first, then your spouse, then your kids, then your business. It just so happens business funds the whole show. But we had to make sure that we had a heck of a summer while still taking care of business. So that's why our one-on-one clients, they take priority. So, hey, I've told you, I'm not one of these yahoos online who needs to be a social media influencer. I'm not one of these clowns who's never done it, where they start their NEMT business with a single vehicle, and that's all they all ever are, is a single vehicle, and so they become a social media influencer to make money. That ain't me. So that's why what I'm going to share with you today, and trust me, I spent a lot of time last night filtering through so much stuff of, okay, what do I want to talk about? Because like many of you know, my peeps, Dan, Don, Charlie, my team DDC, they receive all the intake emails from so many of you, and when there are certain things they think that I should touch and talk about in my videos, they'll put them in a separate folder. So needless to say, that folder is long and distinguished, but I went through and I tried to put some things together that I thought are very, very important, because they hit on some key topics and things that happened over the last couple of months. So some of these emails are a little bit older, as you're going to see if you look at the date, but there are some key things that happened over these past several months since I shot my last video. So it's important that we talk about them, and also I pick stuff that I know that I'm going to be dropping some good golden nuggets for you. So I got to catch my wind to get back into it. I think it's been like 4 months since I shot a video, something like that. So again, thanks all for your emails and your concerns. Love you guys, but now that I'm back in the Communist People's Republic of New York, but I still have a busy fall. We're going to be hitting a lot of college football games. I got a couple of things we got to do, some trips we got planned, so it's going to be busy. That's why, I got some West Point games I'll be going to, Michigan State, Charlotte, UTSA, Alabama. I got some more trips. So any of you guys in those areas who are one-on-one clients, hit me up, let me know. We'll see if we could break bread. We'll see what we could do. So, all right, folks, let's get into it. I'm scared. I'm shaky because this could be long, but again, I tried to just go after the most important stuff. So let's do it. Let's do it. I'm going to start with one that actually came in a day or two ago. I'll start there first to kind of work back a little bit. Forgive me if I jump around a bit. Alright, so hello Joel, I found you online, started watching your videos. I really appreciate your content and find your real world sense of humor hysterical. I can honestly say I don't think I've ever been accused or my sense of humor is being categorized as real world, so that's awesome. That's unique. I'll take that as a first. That's cool. I started considering this business after my mother struggled with transportation for dialysis and other appointments. Because of work, I wasn't available during the week to take her, and some of the stories were horrifying. The lack of quality service is an obvious gap in the market. True, we see that everywhere. One of the many things I noticed in your videos is you prefer full-size vans versus minivans. Yeah, especially in the beginning when you're starting your business. Yes, I do. I'll explain in a minute, and I'll also show you some things to further substantiate my position. But there are a place for minivans. She continues, I'll be honest, I am a smaller female. How do you know? Are you self-identifying? Have you already determined? Is it up for debate? Where are we at with this? I don't know. Only 5'4", so I am a little intimidated by starting with full-size vans. Nothing to be intimidated about, trust me. I had female drivers who did a phenomenal job, great workers. Likewise, there's just a million different providers we work with who are female, and not only are they female owners, but they also employ female drivers, and they do a great job. She continues, just being honest, in doing some preliminary research, it looks like my competitors are all using minivans, so would this be a start for me? Very good question. I don't like to start with minivans. Again, is there a place for minivans? Yes, there are. There's a place for it depending on your dynamics. Some upsides that people like to always tout are gas is a little bit cheaper. Yeah, that's true, but you're also filling up a lot quicker. And it's easier if you're more of an urban area to get into certain places. I agree with all that. But for me, again, there's a place for minivans strategically as we build your fleet. Those first few vehicles, no, I'm sorry. I'm all about the bigger vehicles, especially because of the way that when I'm working with you, the targets, I call them top tier targets, the ones that we want to go after to get those contracts and the direct pay service agreements, we cannot be one or two dimensional. We have to be very versatile. And I'm going to play a video for you in a second here, and you'll see just some of the issues that you can encounter with a minivan. In fact, let's go ahead. Let's just play the video right now.
They put a new joystick in today, and it's not accurate. Ow! Ow!
Okay, so what happens in that video? Power chair. People in power chairs, they tend to sit higher as compared to a traditional manual chair, whether it's one of yours or one of theirs. You sit higher in a power chair, so that's a problem. Many minivans, not all of them, it's very difficult to accommodate bariatric patients. So that's limiting. Again, we want to go after our top tier targets. So, and again, I know there's a lot of people watching this right now. They're going to disagree with me. They swear by their minivans. You do you. You do you. All I know is we got too many people who are just rocking it, crushing it, making great margins, and we build the fleet systematically. And I know some people love to tout, we got 25 vans, we got 50 vans. I don't care. That will never impress me. All I care about are your numbers. What does the bottom line look like? That's the most important thing. Let's start the conversation there. What's the bottom line look like? So I've been in too many places where you tout how many vehicles you got, but yet it's underutilized. I don't want that. And again, you've heard me say it 1,000,001 times. It's better to need it and not have it than have it and not need it. A vehicle that's sitting there still costs you money, especially if you're making a vehicle payment on it, you're paying for insurance. Coming out of the gate, it's costing you money. We can't have that. Everything we have, we need to be able to use. So let's utilize the best tools possible to accomplish the mission with the greatest effect. Yeah, I see your point. You know, you're a self-identifying female, 5'4". So I kind of get what you're coming from. I understand that, but again, there's just too many people who are able to pull it off with full-size vans. And I'm talking about females who of varying size. It's not a problem for them. Trust me. Some of my best drivers were female, and they were just awesome. So I wouldn't be intimidated, especially once you get into your groove. You're going to find it's very convenient. This is also why, if you have full-size vehicles, we obviously want the hydraulic lifts. So anyways, you watch that video, you see what can happen. Do you think that's not going to lead to some type of a legal claim? You know, is it going to be a giant lawsuit? No, but you know that at the end of the day, there's an ambulance chasing attorney out there who is going to at least want to file a claim to get a quick cash grab for them and obviously the client. It's going to happen. And then we can get a lot worse. Case in point, these images. This is why you never, I'm sorry again, I know some of you watching this, there's a lot of trolls, a lot of clowns, a lot of gurus, a lot of national accreditation gurus and the dingbats, and they're going to want to do stretchers in minivans. Look, the facts are clear. Minivans are just not made for commercial use, fact. End of story. They're not. And when they get into even a fender bender can be catastrophic. You know, years ago I talked about one of my clients in Florida. At the time she was hopping. At the time she only had 4 vehicles. And the minivan got rear-ended through no fault of her own. One of the drivers was stopped at a red light or a stop sign, something like that, and boom! Thing gets blown up. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but it's the vehicle. She lost the vehicle for well over a month. So if she only had 4 vehicles, that means 25% of your capacity just got eradicated. Now, she was busy. She was hopping. So that's a game changer. Had that been a full-size van, probably would have driven away. Big difference. Now here's the thing I want to talk about that many people they won't connect these dots because they're focused on the minivan. Now, I want you to think this through. I understand your motivation for why you're starting this business. Your mom had dialysis and you weren't always able to take her because of your work, and you heard the horror stories. Think about this. You mentioned in here, you heard the horror stories of the people who were driving her to and from. Now, those are going to be your competitors. So you talking here about where did you say it here? Doing some preliminary research. It looks like my competitors are all using minivans. You've heard the horror stories. Your mom has experienced them, which means you've probably experienced some of them too with the local competitors. Why do you want to mimic them? Just asking for a friend. Seriously, we get so many emails from people who they recognize the gap in the market. The competitors are crap. Let's not get this thing twisted. We know the LA population is booming. The medical industry is booming. Hospitals, nursing homes, all kind of stuff. Boom, it's all there. The demand is there. The industry is only going to grow. So the upside is there. You see that there's a giant gap in the market virtually everywhere because there's so many slappy-pappy, slap-dick providers out there. So when you do your preliminary research, you want to mimic them. You see the opportunity, you see the upside, but let me do what the slaps are doing. Let me do what these little independent operators who are constantly cutting costs and don't have their ASS from a hole in the ground. I want to mimic them. We get the emails from the people, well, this is what their website looks like. This is what they do. This is the vans they're using. This is the equipment they use. This is what they told me. This is what I heard. Why do you want to mimic them? Be different. Bottom line, provide a better service, be different. And again, I'm obviously biased. Build your fleet the way that we tell you to, because it just works. I'm sorry. I'm preparing my voice because I'm sure it's going to be a long video here. So, well, I'll continue on here. Great question. Love it. But just think, like, you see the gap in the market. You see your, because of your competitors are a bunch of slaps. Why do I want to mimic them? And here's the other key point too. Yeah, I see them all over the place. My competitors, this and that. But do you know what their bottom line looks like? Because that's all I care about. Again, I already opened with that. That's all I care about is the bottom line. What's their bottom line look like? I want to mimic these guys, and do they got fat stacks? If they don't have fat stacks, why do I want to mimic them? Their vehicles look like crap. Drivers look like slouches. So we can assume their bottom line probably isn't that healthy. Why do I want to mimic that? Nah. I'm out. Let's see what else we got going on. Should I start with this or should I start with that? Let's go to, let's see which one here. Forgive me, folks. It's a tough call. Tough call. All right, we'll go to this one. Here's this one. We'll go to this one. Okay, this is an email that we received. This is an email we received through our online submission online. This is before Motive Crap filed for bankruptcy. So they knew it was coming. So whoever this person is sent us a message. Looks like there were multiple messages, but he says, also, Motive Crap has been trying to negotiate down my contract, and I've been sort of ignoring their offers. Should I keep ignoring them? Why do I include this little tidbit here? Because this came before they filed bankruptcy. Now, the reason I mention this is because, did any of you know that was coming? That bankruptcy? I don't think so. I don't think so, because I know for a fact, because we were swamped. When they filed for bankruptcy, we got swamped quickly by a bunch of providers. It's interesting. One of their biggest markets, the communist state of California, they didn't experience as much of a blowback from Motive Crap filing for bankruptcy this summer, because that's one of their largest markets. They can't afford. That's like their flagship. That is, if there's one state that embodies everything broker, it's communist California, because brokers, that's just, they almost operate like a communist entity, and California is like their flagship. It's just they salivate over all that stuff, and man, it can get brutal. It's very interesting. We have some people in California who are crushing it. Then we got other people, not so much. So I want to continue a little bit along the motive, because I'm assuming everybody watching this knows that Motive Crap filed for bankruptcy, and it had an instant blowback, instant ripple effect for many providers in some of the in many markets. But again, it's just interesting. Their flagship, the most important one, they can't afford to lose, communist California. Not too many providers that I've seen, they've experienced blowback. But those people in some of the smaller states that are heavily invested in the Motive Crap and just salivating, and they went all in on the Motive Crap sharecropping plantation, man, they got crushed. Some crushed. So here's a message in July. Hello, Joel. My name is Robert, and I own blank transport in blank location. We launched in 2018 and currently operate 10 sedans. 10 sedans. I have been following you for a long time. Well, if you've been following for a long time, then why do you own 10 sedans? Because I'm assuming your 10 sedans are just what? Ambulatory, so you're just a taxi service? I have been following you for a long time and never reached out to you or your team before. Whose fault is that? But I am doing so now because, like you mentioned, I can see what's coming in the future. Oh, now the light is starting to go off. We are working for Motive Crap and operating at a higher price point, yes, while they undercut us by also using independent Uber and Lyft drivers who aren't required to carry the insurance we do or undergo any fleet oversight or management. Exactly. Exactly. And this is why, again, listen to the national accreditors. Think about this as I digress for a second. Think about this. If you go to the national accreditation, so Dan told me that they're selling their own brand of coffee now. Oh man, that's so awesome. They're selling their own brand of coffee now to wake up their national accreditation dispatchers. Oh man! So think about this: if you went to a national accreditation conference this summer, you would have been preached to by these brokers who just filed for bankruptcy. I mean, think that through. Think that through. There's like so many people who follow these dingbats and the fake book groupies and the white walkers, the slappy pappies. You're following people who've never done anything. It's like taking financial advice from someone who's broke. Why would you do that? No one in their right mind, again, I stress right mind, no one in their right mind would take financial advice from someone who's broke. If I want to be a millionaire, I want to hear advice from a millionaire. If I want to be a multi-millionaire, I'm going to go to a multi-millionaire. But if you paid money and travel expenses to go listen to the national accreditation and get some of their new branded coffee, you would have been preached to, and you would have taken business advice from brokers who just filed for bankruptcy. It's incredible. As I digress, let me go back and I want to read that one sentence over again though, because it's very insightful. Let's see. I've been following you for a long time and never reached out to you or your team before, but I am doing so now because, like you mentioned, I can see what is coming in the near future. Yes. If you're operating 10 sedans, you're just a taxi service, you will be eradicated. We are working for Motive Crap and operating at a higher price point while they undercut us. Because remember, you guys are partners. We're partners. We're partners. We signed a partnership agreement. Remember? Not. While they undercut us by also using independent Uber and Lyft drivers who aren't required to carry the insurance we do or undergo any fleet oversight or management. That is so flippin' huge right there. Because again, these brokers, they don't care about you. No one cares about you. They only care about their bottom line. He continues, it makes no sense. And like you said, they will be replacing us with autonomous cars at some point in time in the future. Yes, because that's what's going to happen. It's going to happen to taxis. My hesitation and question is really, is it worth to invest in wheelchair accessible vehicles? Yes. And if I don't see where you're from, but if you're in a state where you could do stretchers, go all in on stretchers. Go all in on stretchers. Crush it. Crush the market. My hesitation and question is really, is it worth it to invest in wheelchair accessible vehicles? I don't want to invest money if it's going to lead to isn't going to lead to a better result. Any help and insight you can provide would be greatly appreciated. Yes! The fastest way for you to separate yourself from the slappies is to be wheelchair accessible. And again, I don't see where you're from, but if you're in a state that is that allows NEMT providers to do stretchers, dude, gotta crush it, man. Gotta crush it. I got some people who are in states where where NEMT can do stretchers, and it's the quickest way to distinguish yourself from the slaps. It's the quickest way to separate yourself from the slaps, because it's like we run circles. We'll run circles. I can give you examples where we will run circles around our competitors because they won't do stretchers because they're intimidated or whatever. And again, if you go back to Brittany's email, dude, I had females doing stretcher transports, and they were savage. Love them. So, and I'll be honest with you, I'll be the first one to admit, I admitted it probably a million years ago, that, you know, the way I really cut my teeth in this business is I was a big dude back then, jacked up and all that stuff. Came out of the NFL and Army and everything. I was savage, so I could be anyone, the ERs, anyone, the hospitals, give me all their bariatric, give me the stretchers. I could lift the world back then, and wasn't an issue. So I ultimately, and that's really what helped my business grow. I was a problem solver. Everyone had a problem, but culture will get it done. Boom, and we got it done. So I ultimately and instinctively thought to myself, man, there's no way I could hire a female driver, especially thinking like for stretchers. But man, I was proven wrong, because some of them were savage. Loved them. Let's continue on, shall we? Got some good stuff here. Got some good stuff that's going to be insightful. Okay. And again, I tried to be very strategic. Okay. Now this is a guy who we've worked with for a long time. Love this dude. Okay, so I included this one. This is a response, an email that he and I were going back and forth to, and this was one of his responses. Now, so we had Motive Crap file for bankruptcy for $1.4 billion. What was it? Maybe August 20th, I think it was. I forgot the date. Anyways, a month or two prior to that, many of you may have heard that Genesis. Now, Genesis, they're not a broker. They run nursing homes. They and they're big. They're large. Lot in the Northeast, East Coast, and stuff. So Genesis, there's another classic example of this. Is why, if you take anything away from this video, it's you have got to always perform your due diligence and make sure you dot the I's, cross the T's with a risk management related mentality. And you have to protect yourself because nobody else will. You have to protect yourself because nobody else will. So if there's anything you take away from this video, it's no one's going to care about you. And therefore, you have to do everything necessary to protect you and protect your business. Dot the I's, cross the T's, have that risk management mentality with the way you approach everything. And again, just protect your business. This is a classic example. So Genesis files for bankruptcy, and of course, you know, most people didn't know. They didn't see it coming. So you're just hit by a ton of bricks. You're hit by a surprise. Well, this guy did not have agreements in place, so we had to go really hard line. So Genesis, he was already servicing a lot of Genesis facilities. Genesis had come in, purchased a lot of the nursing homes in his area. He's in a smaller market, but he was doing well, working hard. Loved the guy. Guy works hard, and he didn't have formal agreements in place. So when they file for bankruptcy, man, and here's another takeaway I want you to really think about. Here's another takeaway that I want you to think about, and you'll see it here in some of the continuing emails. As you start your business, let's not get it twisted. This is not a complicated business. And ultimately, workers in this business they're laborers. Bottom line, there's no other way to put it, is you're laborers. And as a laborer, let's not get twisted. As a laborer, when you go into particular facilities, you're going to be looked down upon because they're going to look at you like, oh, they'll automatically default to just you're just like the taxi driver, right? Even I'll show you some people here in a minute who are making more money than doctors, and the same thing happened to me. I would go in sometimes to pick people up. This is after I already had my first contract, and now I'm really like making moves and making money. And you could tell that the nurses and some doctors would crap on you and look down on you, and all the while I'm just laughing because I'm like, yeah, TCH, I make more money than you, and you're crapping on me. It's a very unique study in anthropology, and the dynamics of how people will look down on you when they think that, oh, they're just the taxi service. But it's amazing. It's amazing how things change when they need you. When they need you. So this is why you always want to put yourself in a position where you protect yourself in your business. Because now when the need happens, man, you control everything. So when Genesis files for bankruptcy, they had, with my client provider here, they had it was like 30,000. It was like 30,000 in arrears for just a couple of one or two facilities, which is insane. And trust me, I browbeat this guy over the head with it. Like, dude, this is insane. What are you thinking? We can't do this. So it's then, what do we do now? Because now, when you try to collect, they tried to push us, because now he retains me. Now we're working on this. Now they try to push us into the bankruptcy pool, if you will. And so when they do bankruptcy and they refile, recategorize, it's like, okay, what's the priority? Who gets paid first? What percentage? We're not playing that game. We're not playing that game because now we know that you need us. So long story short, I advised him, no, we're not doing this. We're not playing that bankruptcy game. You do you. You being Genesis, you do you. We're doing us. So I sent him an email. He responds. And he said, LOL, laugh out loud, I'll be hiding under a rock pretty soon, because he was like, man, he was like 30,000 on the books in arrears with Genesis. So then he started to answer my various questions. So we'll read through some of them. So whatever I had said to him in point one, he said, yes, residents are reaching out to him directly. And I'm like, sorry, you have to pay and fight them, as the facility is responsible for skilled residents. Well, one put up a fuss today, and that's why the regional manager for Genesis called originally, and it went up there fast. So again, when they need you, this is why, again, so many of you, when you do your contracts and service agreements, the facilities and the hospitals, they'll propose net 60 terms. No, we're not doing that. Or net 45 terms. No, we're not doing that. No. We will not extend terms beyond net 30. It's not going to happen. Now, ideally, with a lot of mine, we want net 15, and we'll get those a lot of times. But sometimes we'll do the little bait and switch to do the tug and pull and negotiation, and we'll go to net 30. We will not go beyond net 30 ever. You do not ever sign an agreement that goes beyond net 30. Because understand, if you go net 30, you're really at net 60, because you'll provide service for 30 days. Then they have another 30 days in which they get paid. You're already extended 60 days. You cannot do that. That's why I prefer net 15, because at most my exposure is 30 days. You can't provide free service for 60 days and then hope by that 60 day you're going to get paid. We're not operating like that. So all of a sudden, residents, family, everyone's putting up a fuss because we're like, I told my guy, I said, no, we're done. We're done. You don't even have a signed agreement. Even if you did have a signed agreement, what do we put in our agreement? You don't pay, we don't play. No tiki, no laundry. So I told him, dude, we're still in the catbird seat. We can recover from this, man. So he's 30 grand in arrears, and we're still in the catbird seat depending on how well we play this game. So you'll notice number 2, he said, I'm only doing POT, no other options, pay on transport. So he's now telling he tells the residents, you apply the pressure. You tell the facility that they better call us, and we're paying. We're POT. Till we are not extending credit, nothing. We're in bankruptcy, and you think we're going to play this, 6-year bankruptcy nonsense? Dude, no, we're not doing that. Number 3, well, I just read the newsletter. I sent out a newsletter back then, and he said, I just read your newsletter prior to talking with the lawyer. I forgot the name. It's all coming back to me now. So the attorney who is assisting Genesis with the bankruptcy calls dude, this is the best. They call my guy, and literally, this is so awesome. They tell him, no, you have to. You have to, because you're filed in the bankruptcy. Do you hear yourself? Do you hear yourself? You, an attorney. First of all, you have no authority. You have no impact. You have nothing. You have nothing. You're going to call me a transportation provider. No, you have to do it. No, you're caught up in all this litigation. BITCH, I ain't got to do a darn thing. I ain't got to do a darn thing. But many of you watching this video, I gotta do it all, policy procedure. I ain't gotta do a darn thing. So he probably told him to no, F you, man. Let's see. Well, I just read the newsletter prior to talking with the lawyer. I was well prepared because I don't remember which newsletter I had sent out, but he read my newsletter just before we talked to the attorney, so he was able to tell him, boom, 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 boom. Number 4, no, hell no. I will respond to blank, letting them know we aren't signing unless we see payment. So think about this. This is so delish, man. Think about the dynamic here. And again, this is why you have to protect you and your business first and foremost, because nobody else will. Fact, bottom line, end of story, close the barn doors. They're filing for bankruptcy. He has $30,000 plus in arrears, whatever. They're not paying him. You're going to have to wait for some mythological date in the future to ever collect a portion of it. But let's sign an agreement moving from this day forward. No. We don't sign or touch an agreement till all of that money is paid. Watch. No, hell no. I will respond to blank, letting them know we aren't signing unless we see payment. Sweet and short-lived victory with the agreement. If you're okay, if the lawyer calls, I will forward his number, and you can have a field day with him. So many people who I work with, again, and I've mentioned this before, that I'll serve as the CFO because we do the good cop, bad cop. Because if I'm working with you and I'm serving as your CFO, let me be the bad guy. You be the good guy. So I have no problem, especially when I'm working with a one-on-one client. I'll pick up the phone, I'll call, and I'll serve as the CFO and everything, and we crush it. We crush it. You'll see some here in a minute, and again, we'll do emails where a lot of my client providers will give me an email address, and I'll do it as the CFO of the company. We crush stuff. Love it. This is the joy, simple pleasures, the joys I get out of life. Number 6. As sinister as it sounds, and I know you will still want to kill me, and as long as your beer isn't a White Claw, well played. These jackasses probably would have tried to intimidate and force us to continue transporting. My ghetto fabulous pimping suit was coming out of the closet. So basically what he's saying is, had I not read your newsletter, had I not been working with you, he probably would have fell for the antics and the games that they were playing. And look, let's be honest. If you're a newbie, you're a new business starting out, it's intimidating. You only got a couple vehicles. You're trying to establish accounts and work with vendor. Become a vendor for a lot of these facilities, and some have been around for a long, long time, and then you get calls from attorneys. It could be intimidating, and this is where so many people people have in some of the emails have talked about that. I'm like their counterbalance, which is that's a very good analogy. I help balance them out of what's important, what's not important. Other people talk about me being one of the best ones was, and they said it well. You're like my private board of directors. And it's true, and this is a classic example. What he's saying here is that reading my stuff, working with me one-on-one, equipped him and gave him the confidence and the tools necessary to navigate this tough spot that he was in. Number 7, look at the difference now. Number 7, I'm holding ground. He's sticking to it. He doesn't need to collapse like a cheap tent under the pressure of because everybody panics. Attorney's calling. Attorney's calling. Dude, F your attorney. F your attorney. F him. F her. People get all intimidated. Attorneys have no authority. I mean, and again, I know it can be very intimidating for a lot of people. But boom, he's equipped. I'm holding my ground. See, all of this is happening while I have your help and guidance. I can't imagine how I would have handled it. Boom. Love it. Respect, man. This is why I love this dude. Honestly, as bad as the situation is, I'm staying very calm. Good. As having knowledge and knowing your position help navigate. Amen. Number 9, this is awesome. The lawyer definitely is a White Claw beer drinker. That is so awesome. That's why I love this dude. I might hide under a rock until Joel Davis calms down, but I stand by it, talk to him. What do you think? What do you think the result is? What do you think happened here? What do you think? What do you think the over and under is that he collected all his money? Oh, he did. He did. He collected all his money. What's wrong with my mouse here? There we go. What is wrong with my mouse? Alright, folks. It looks like we're going to have to take a short intermission so I can change the battery on my mouse. Alright, folks. Let's resume ops. I think we're good, but we'll see. If we have any more technical difficulties. Wardrobe malfunction. Alright, so we got that one. Let's try this one. This one, okay. Now we talked about motive crap. The fall. Again, I could show you a million. I'm not going to dig into those. It got millions. We were land-based. I came back for a week. Between trips, and I planned on starting work with some new clients. We were just land-based. It was the Monday after motive crap filed for bankruptcy, and we got just land-based. So I got a ton of emails, but again, you get the point. Hey, it was motive crap. All right, so motive crap files for bankruptcy. Everyone gets land-based. But so imagine the shock when all of a sudden you're 100% motive crap, and now they file for bankruptcy, and they never told you, partner. You're their partner, because remember, motive crap and all the brokers, they're partners. We care about your community, the seniors in your community. Mind you, they're located, let's say, nine states away, but they care about your community. Never tell you that the bankruptcy's coming, and then all of a sudden, boom, trips start plummeting, or they expect you to continue with the same trips at a fraction of the cost. F you, man. Nah, there's no other way to put it. F you, man. Joel, you can't talk like that. I'm not. I'm spelling. I'm not talking like that. I'm spelling. But we can also see it with nursing homes. This is why you always want formal written contracts and service agreements with facilities. Who saw that? Who would have known that they were going to file bankruptcy? They filed bankruptcy for probably equal amount, something crazy like that. A boatload of money, whatever it was. But regardless, so that was a shakeup, right? So how do we navigate those waters? Now, fortunately, we were much better well positioned. It's better for one of those facilities if they're restructuring versus motive crap or some other broker. So you know where I stand with the contracts and service agreements. Got to have them. This, that. You know where I stand with brokers. But I'm going to show you a key caveat here. And I knew I had to show this, but at the same time, there's a lot of caveats to this. You won't hear stuff like this on the fake book groupies, the dingies, the white walkers, the national accreditation. So this is from one of my client providers who, again, we do a lot of great things together. He says, yo, we're getting really damn heavy with this one particular broker whose name I will not say. And before, again, and he's crushing it. He's doing really well. I'm not even going to say his numbers because he's in the thick of some things where he has some competitors trying to bite at his heels, so I'm not giving up the ship for him because he's just crushing it. So there's this one particular broker that doesn't act exactly like the normal broker, and this broker in particular loves him. Loves him because he produces, has a growing fleet, he produces. And back in the day, and everyone knows, like, listen, I have no problem with brokers if A, the money's profitable, but you don't want it to be where your business is just so heavily dependent on the business, and we weren't before. As you'll see here, he says we're getting really damn heavy in blank, the name of the broker. I'm confident we won't blow it. But they went from 20% doing 20% of his revenue was comprised of this particular broker. So he's saying we went from 20% to 30% to 40% to 50% and room to grow. As in, this broker, they'll call him up on his personal cell phone, give him insider information to make sure that they could do this or that, and it's a very unique situation. And as I told him, I said, listen, man, this is not the typical broker scenario. We are going to squeeze this juice till there's no more juice to be squeezed. He said, I'm not saying I'm concerned because there is a ton of upward potential, which I am not about to sit on the bench for. Exactly. We are not getting typical. We're not getting motive crap rates here. We're getting good rates. They're giving us, we're demanding, they're giving. You have to make the big plays at the right time to get the big game. Boom. Totally agree. Totally agree. I'm not sitting on the bench for it. You got to be willing to make the big plays, the right time, the big game. Hey, special people do special things, man. So, Coach Joel Belichick Davis, what's the plan to hedge? He said, again, I don't hear any complaints because I had to do the FBI redaction here, but I had to. My guy's too well positioned. I can't sell him out. He said we're pushing blank, which is a lot. We could push blank with these other rates and talking about these different locations. And again, forgive me, I can't give up these guys' locations. And then he included some other stuff I had to redact. He said other brokers for hedge. He was talking about naming a couple of them. I said no, we're not hedging on those, and keep them strictly as fillers for the broker trips, never to affect primary accounts. He continues, expand in a particular direction into a particular location where there are more hospitals and blank to hold us down. What do you think? Now, why do I share this? Do I share when I'm obviously I had to redact a lot of this, but the reason why I share this is because he's thinking strategically. This is the takeaway from this particular message. He's thinking strategically. How many of you watching this, and listen, I know there's a lot of clowns, I know there's a lot of trolls, I know there's a lot of national accreditation gurus sipping their new branded coffee, and the dingbats who've never grown or scaled anything, never did an acquisition, nothing, who have all this advice. They will teach you, this is how you sign up with brokers, then you follow here, then you follow there. You're like a minion, you just follow like a sheeple. This is strategic thinking and planning. This is why he and I go back and forth 24/7, because we're building something special. Boom. He's thinking strategically. This is why, if you look at him versus, in a short period of time, he's so far outpaced his competitor. In a short few years, he has so far outpaced his competitors because we think plan, and execute strategically. This is why I hate even saying that I'm a consultant, because I'm a strategist. You know, so everybody's a consultant now. Everyone's a consultant now. It's like a 21-year-old life coach. Like, give me a break. So let's continue. So I responded. I'll scroll down towards the bottom with some of my response. Now, mind you, I'm on. This is in the middle of August, so I'm still on vacay. But hey, my one-on-one clients come first. Gotta check the emails here. So let's start down toward the bottom where I said I'll be absolutely first one to admit that blank. But let me play it straight. Let me play it straight with the following. Number one, what you have cooking with blank, the broker, is not the normal arrangement. Okay, bottom line. The one thing that I would say that rivals this anomaly would be blank, and I can't. I know you're annoyed right now. You're watching the video, Joel. You're not telling me anything. I'm sorry. There's certain things I can't reveal. There's one thing I always do. I always protect my people's stuff. 1.1. Yes, on paper, partnering with blank at 50% sounds ludicrous. If we're comparing it to a traditional provider-broker relationship, you do not have the traditional provider-broker relationship, so we're going to exploit blank for as long as possible. 1.2. If things were ever to go sideways with blank, and again, I'm just abbreviating the names, we're absolutely going to make a hard pivot. The first thing we do is take vehicles off the road, reduce labor costs immediately. Those hard decisions that you got to make to protect the bottom line and protect your business that the average person wouldn't do. Yeah. As long as we're not over leveraged with vehicle payments, oh man, is this like strong tactics here? How many of you are just carrying note after note after note? Some of you have gone out there and purchased brand new, expensive, upwards of, some of these new transits are close to 100,000. For goodness sakes, you're insane. And then you'll carry these notes, and then you'll go work for chump change for brokers. Insane, absolutely insane. As long as we are not over leveraged with vehicle payments, we're safe enough. When you have to consider risk versus reward. In regards to our hedge, we're hedging with blank as we speak, and in the future, other things and strategies as well. So what I'm referring to there is I actively help him manage his honey pot, and it's getting figgity fat. So I actively work. In fact, as soon as I get off here, I mean, we are allocating 40 grand today. We're going to be allocating another $40,000 worth of assets. So we are building his honey pot, making him figgity fat. So what I'm saying to him is, we're going to squeeze this juice for as long as the juice is squeezing. When we can't squeeze it no more, boom, then we'll get rid of it. It's like I've said before, ride that horse till the horse don't ride no more, and then shoot him in the head. And he's not heavily leveraged, so he has, a dozen plus vehicles, 15 vehicles. Not heavily leveraged, only a couple of does he have notes on. He got great returns. He's doing $200,000 a month with margins well into the 30s. Let's say ballpark 35. So not high on leverage, high on revenue, high on margin. We're going to squeeze that juice, and at the same time, we're high on building the honey pot. The play is great. Now let's scroll up a little bit. And what is his response? I talked in previous videos before where I talked about some people. It's like, and I say to him, like, what did you retain me for? You don't listen to anything I say, or you think I'm going to fight with you at a certain point. You think I'm going to chase you, which I won't. I don't chase people. If you ghost me, you ghost me. I'm not chasing you. The closer you stay to me, the better. This is a guy who, it's like, dude, flush. I mean, And he acts and he executes. You know, it's just he acts and he executes. That's what it's all about. So what's his response? You got it, coach. No, oh, well, I don't know. Let me ask my attorney. You know, I've had people. You know, we've talked about in the past. I've had people where we've had $1 million deals on the line. $1 million deals on the line. I've been working with you for how long? And when you sign the retainer agreement, well, I gotta check with my attorney. It's like, what? Which by all means, do your due diligence. I'm all for that. But it's like, we've just worked together for how long? And for nickel and dime chump change on a retainer agreement, well, I have to check my, what? That's why this dude just execute, and his bank account and the honeypot reflect that. What's his response? You got it, coach. Agreed. You ever see the movie The Other Guys? The scene where Will Ferrell starts pimping out the girls that eventually becomes Gator. Just want to make sure we're not going down a path where we have to go to rehab, laugh out loud. Until then, boom. Dude, that's hysterical. That's hysterical. But, yeah, absolutely love it, man. Absolutely. Again, the reason I share all this is, yeah, I don't ever want to have to go into rehab with this guy. He and I have had some unique conversations. If he goes down, I go down with him. When I don't want to go to rehab, but he executes. He listens and he executes. Listens and executes. And so many people, oh, they're resident experts. My brother-in-law told me. Whatever. Now, here's something that I want to include, because you're not going to hear this. You're not going to hear stuff like this from Battle of the Dingbats, the fake book groupers, national accreditors, because with them, everything's happy. Everything's happy. It's all fluffy talk. Let's all walk on coals together and hot fire and show our solidarity and brotherhood together and feel good about each other, and then we will win. No. You win when you execute. You win when you execute. Bottom line. Have a good strategic plan. Execute the plan. Fluffy feel-good feelings do not fill your bank account. Facts. Okay, so the reason I share this stuff is because things happen. Things happen. And these are things that all these slappies that some of you hire, they kill you. And how do I know that? Because after you hit the wall, so many of you hate my tone, you don't like my tone, he's too harsh, too abrasive, too direct, you hate the tone. But when you hit the wall, you realize, damn, this ain't what I thought. This isn't going what I thought. The money's not what I thought. This is crazy. We're doing something wrong. Then you finally, swallow the bitter pill. Then you call the 21-year-old Olympic athlete the international sex symbol. But I'm going to show you some stuff that's real world stuff that happens. So this provider had one of his vans driving on the highway. Had two drivers in there. Thankfully, they didn't have a passenger. And bam, they get rear-ended. So a car trying to be a tough guy rear ends them as they're trying to shift to another lane. Boom, hits them, clips them on their driver's side rear. So the vehicle, the insurance company ends up totaling. Now clearly the other party is at fault. This and that. That wasn't even up for debate. So that happened in June. Forgive me. The wife calls. Guy comes first, then your spouse, then your kiddies, then your business. So when wife texts you, you gotta interrupt. Wifey comes first. So anyways, so they total, the insurance company totals the vehicle. Not even debate who was at fault. And that happened, I will see the date at some point in time in here. It's in my notes. It happened, I think, in June or July. Clip them, boom. Could the vehicle have been repaired? Probably, I'm guessing. Don't know, don't care, not an issue for this per se. So what happens is the insurance company gives us a complete BS lowball valuation, and they act fast. They want to cram it down your throat. So you're, oh, I'm desperate. I need the money. The average slap out there would take it. So the vehicle was probably worth, low 30s. My client provider here still had a note on it for like 31,000, something like that, right? And the vehicle wasn't worth much more. I mean, he's grinding, right? He's killing it, crushing. This provider's crushing it, has multiple contracts, doing his thing, needs the vehicle, wants the vehicle. But they give him a low ball valuation of $19,801 with, they added additional tax and all that kind of stuff. It would have been $21,484. Well, guess what? He still owes 31 grand on it. Vehicle's worth probably about that, maybe a little bit more, not much more. So again, this is client provider has me on. I'm serving as a CFO. So they just try cramming it down his throat. You're taking this, you're taking that, you're taking this, you're taking that. Well, then the self-identifying 21-year-old Olympic athlete gets involved, and boom. And I type the response, I don't think so. And I did it very, legalistically, telling them, nah, I don't think so, man. So I go back and forth with the underlings for a short bit, and then the heavy hitter. Then the heavy hitter comes in. And now he comes in to reaffirm what the underlings from the insurance company were saying. Thank you for your message. Thank you for sharing your concern. Blah 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 blah. Please note that this is a first party collision claim. Blah 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 blah. Valuation using blah blah blah, using CCC Intelligent Solutions marketing based methodology. Whoa, I better believe you then, because most of you watching this, you would. The dingbats, the slappies, the fake buck groupers, the white walkers, they would, the attorney's calling, the insurance company. The valuation was completed using CCC, an Intelligent Solutions market-based methodology. Oh, sounds important. It must be right. A review of comparable vehicles actively or recently listed for sale in your geographic area, adjustments for mileage, condition, and equipment based on market data, and average and adjusted values from verified comparable vehicles, which resulted in a base vehicle value of $19,801, taxes and fees with added, blah blah blah, come out to $21,484, blah 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 blah. The vehicle was rated, blah blah blah, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Jarmal. You're the director. We got the claims director. We don't just have adjusters now. Now we have the claims director, who reassured us that the valuation was correct because of a CCC, Intelligent Solutions market-based methodology. So we just better shut up and take what they're giving us. Not. So I send a response and blasted them. And I support it with legitimate comps that clearly demonstrate that no, our comps are closer to ballpark 30,000 plus or minus, right? So not only do I blast him, clearly underscore that what you're quoting us, the valuation you're giving us, is based on a, watch this, cargo van. We're talking about an ADA compliant, wheelchair and stretcher accessible Ford Transit. You're trying to give us a valuation on, wait for it, a Ford Transit cargo van. And not only do I include the comps, multiple comps, then I start to include case law. Boom, 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 boom. Again, the typical slappies, the pappies, the white walkers, the battle of the dingbats, the coffee drinking national creditors. They're not going to tell you this stuff. That's not what they do. That's all happy talk. They do happy talk stuff. So I go through, and the reason I'm not sharing it is because there's too many of you trolls out there watching this stuff that I'm not going to share that stuff. So now now we had Jarmal, the claims director. Now, after I destroyed him, it got bumped back down to the underlings. So now it comes back down to just the examiner. And she sends this August 15th at 1 o'clock, 1:18. Hi, Joel. Hope you had a great weekend. I know mine's been busy, but productive. Like I care? I don't care about your weekend and stuff. What's your smoke and mirrors? Shut up. I don't care about this. Get to business. Get to business, Chiquita. You're playing with my money now. I was planning to give you a call to discuss, but wanted to follow up via email as well. I received the policy you sent over and was able to confirm the stated value for the unit is $40,000. Whoa, this is important. I didn't tell you $40,000. Sorry, Chiquita. I didn't tell you $40,000. Stay tuned. I received the policy you sent over and was able to confirm the stated value for the unit is $40,000. Now, why would you do that? Because I didn't state $40,000. I also received the updated I also received the updated evaluation from CCC, which reflects a new valuation of $42,558. This is very important. This is very important. Again, you don't hear this stuff from the dingies. Initially, they gave us a valuation of ballpark 20,000. Now, after and then they brought up the heavy hitter, and I was supposed to just shut up and take it. Well, I didn't. Now I pushed back. I told them, no, and here's case law, and here's the comps, and here's why, So now they go well and above beyond, and now they overvalue the vehicle at over $42,000, closer to $43,000. Why did they do that? Stay tuned. Given that, and based on the repair estimates of only $18,813, the unit is now repairable. So mind you, the accident happened a month and a half ago. We've been sitting here waiting to resolve this issue. We lost that capacity for a month, and this guy's pumping his contracts. So you, the insurance company, so here's what you did. You gave us a low ball valuation, so we would have taken a loss. We would have taken a loss on this vehicle, had it undervalued. Now, after I push back and blow you up and I provide evidence and cite case law, now you overvalue it to bring in the cost of repairs to make it that, okay, no, now it's repairable now. And all the while, we've wasted weeks and weeks. The unit is now repairable. I've reassigned the claim to the property damage adjuster to handle the repair process moving forward. I've CC'd the PD adjuster on the email. Thank you again for your patience. I'm not patient. Now, here's what's interesting. Watch this one. So this Chiquita sends me this at August 15th at 1:18 p.m. What I didn't know was that night I would have received another message from, let's see what their title is. Just a claims representative. So now we got Nita. So we have Nita. On the same day at 6:38 p.m., I get a very direct email. Good evening. There was some customizations left off the initial NADA valuation on this vehicle. Wait a minute. Chiquita, earlier in the day, said that they ran some valuations and they got this and they added that and all this kind of stuff. And now, big valuation. So therefore, now it's repairable. Now, on the same day, I get another direct message from another underling that makes it look like it was an accident, like they just left out a couple of things here and they forgot that. But now when they add it all back in the mix, now that's the cause. So which is it? Is it because I provided further evidence, further consideration, and then it led to this? Or is it because some things were left off? These are the games that people will play on you. After rerunning the values, the vehicle is now repairable. Please see attached estimate and advise payment direction. No. We just wasted two months. We wasted 2 months. The vehicle had already been declared a total loss, and now after 2 months, where we've lost that vehicle, look, we were able to adjust accordingly. But no, we've been without that vehicle, got the job done, but not without a little bit of trials and tribulation. You're not going to backdoor us like this. First, it's declared a total loss. Then it's not declared a total loss. You play all your hijinks, and I got all the evidence. No, we're not playing those games. How did I resolve it? Well, that I know, because it's still a work in progress. Number one, technically it's a work in progress, but I can't tell you guys everything because, again, we got too many clowns and trolls and everybody, the dinghies watching this. So, but again, here's the key point. Think about it. I've talked about it. You have to protect you and protect your business with a mindset that's grounded in risk management. Again, you cannot be chasing the shiny objects, whether it's take the first email from Brittany where she's talking about the minivans. Like, hey, I see the opportunity, but I see my competitors doing this, I better do that. Why do you want to mimic the way they look, the way they feel, the way they operate, when clearly the way they execute is god awful? It's terrible. So therefore, I don't want to mimic them. I want to be separate. I want to be different. You take the other provider who had the problem with the motive crap, trying to force them to lower their rates. Still take the same trips, still take the same valuable trips, but now they're forcing them to take the lower rates. And then sure enough, within 5 seconds, motive crap is filing for bankruptcy. Do they really care about you? Don't think so. Then you talk about my other client provider here, who in Genesis files for bankruptcy. They're going to call in the heavy hitters. The administrator calls, you got to take these trips. No, that didn't work. Then the lawyer calls, well, that didn't work. Didn't work with the attorneys, didn't work with the administrators, didn't work with the attorneys. And we forced their hand, and boom, all of a sudden, bam, on his desk, he gets a nice fat check. He wins. Now we can move forward. Now we can have the conversation of a service agreement. And he'll be the first one to tell you, he will never operate again without a service agreement. Then you take a look at something like this, where this insurance company is trying to play their hijinks in their game because they don't respect you. This is why I say, when no one is coming to save you, you have to be a savvy business owner and a diligent business owner. That's why, let's be honest, that's why entrepreneurship, being a business owner, is not for everybody. And it's not, look, we all know, giant upside with NEMT. We all know it, we all see it. Even bigger upside for home care. That's exploding beyond imagination. So the opportunities are there, we know, but you have to be a good, disciplined, diligent business owner, or you're going to be taken advantage of, bottom line. And again, this is why being a business owner and entrepreneurship, I'll be the first one to admit, it's not for everybody. Opportunities are there, huge, but it requires a strong degree of diligence and work. My wifey is texting me, so I think I'm going to have to cut this video off here because, again, my wifey needs me. So, folks, listen, I know it's been a long time. I had some other things here to try to get to, but I will just have to forego that for now. I think I've been long-winded enough on the topics that we did talk about, but I got to make sure I go take care of my wifey. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will do my best. No promises made. I will do my best to not wait another 4 months or something like that. So I hope y'all learned something, because this is clearly a different type of content than you get from all the other slappies. So good stuff. Anyways, folks, stay tuned. When you do, I'll see you at the top.